It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community. Just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome, everybody, to our Sunday live. I am coming at you and just got home, got out of the shower, and from helping a buddy do some stuff. So I'm ready to roll. Let's see here. And I'm just kind of getting set up. Welcome, Jerry. You beat Ray to the punch by a couple of minutes. Oh, shoot. You were in here by before 7. Oh my gosh, it's going to snow tonight up in Indiana. That's not, I'm with you, Brock. That's no good. Not good. Snow this year too. Seems like everyone, we have hurricane coming, usually get snow after the winter. Interesting. I know that it made its way up to the Carolina coast. From what I heard, everything was pretty good. Few down trees, few houses, minor damage. That is a good thing, a very good thing. Let's see if I can find it here. I ended up having a conversation with Boater Tom, if he's on yet or not, on Friday night, but he had sent me, let's see if I can find it. Here we go. Oh, I don't want you guys seeing all my emails. That's no good. This is the one I want to show you. He sent me the article about that bass fisherman that got caught stuffing walleye with that. I didn't forward it on. I figured I would just show it today because it's kind of a interesting, funny story. But they were indicted or charged with putting the lead weights in the fish and some other things as well. And attempted grand theft is the way they're looking at it. So it's an interesting article. If anybody wants it, just send me your email and I'll forward this over to you. But a crazy story of people going a little bit too far. People going a little bit too far for. I guess they won some pretty good sized prizes, but not the way you would want to go out. So Brock, I'm curious if you had your last tournament. I know you said you needed your buddy to get skunked and you needed to come in first. So let us know how you did. And hopefully you didn't have to go to any crazy tactics. You just won it outright. Fished out second overall. Okay, good. Congratulations on that. Missed first by 3 points. Still got in the money though. Not as much as I'd hoped for, but it'll buy it. There you go. That if you could break even on fishing, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good thing. Thanks for your email. turned 71 yesterday, got third for my birthday. One more to go. So yeah, I know the support that the community sent Ray last week meant a lot to him, and I appreciate having such a cool community that they do it. Boater Tom, all right, Boater Tom made it. Him and I talked. Oh shoot, we ended up talking probably for a half hour or so. Because I accidentally sent him a link that I meant to send somebody else to get on a Zoom call to help them get access to their Boat Buyers Toolkit. And my wife was in Austin. My kids were off playing, having a good time. So I was just working late. And he jumped right on the Zoom. He didn't know. He's like, I wasn't sure what it was about, but I thought you were going to help me with, I'm trying to get him access to the coastal program. And he's like, oh, well, I got you. We ended up talking about a deal he's going through. And I don't want to give up too much away because I don't know how many wants everybody to know, but looking at potentially upgrading boats, and we talked through that a little bit. So, boater Wayne, the boat guy, good to have Wayne on. He was a guest here. That's probably a couple months ago now. And if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely do it. He is a good guy. I would say he's a new boater, but he's not a new boater anymore. He is I think 4 years in the boat ownership world, and he's probably experienced a lot more than most. Does some great videos over there, so check out his channel if you haven't. Welcome, Wayne. Brian, welcome from West Virginia. I'm probably will be up there for Thanksgiving, so hopefully we keep the snow away from there for a while too, and it's not too crazy cold when we go up. Corey, welcome. It's good to see all the regulars here. Corey, welcome back. Good to have you. 201. That name rings a bell. It seems like you might have been on once or twice. Michael, the Boating Life, welcome. Fall boat show price video is awesome. Great job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that one. That is one that I had so many thoughts swirling through my head. And I started working on that one, researching in August. And I kept saying, I want just a little bit. I want to see what happens next. I want to see what these numbers come out. And I got to the point where I just had to get it done because I could have kept doing that until, there was a definitive answer, and there wasn't going to be a definitive thing. So I tried to look into the future and give some good advice. So I appreciate that. That's a tough video put together for me. That is a lot of research and a lot of getting outside of my exact lane of expertise. And I try not to get too far from that. Tom, welcome back. Good to have you. Yeah, I will. It's my wife's parents are divorced, so I've got two families that I've got to bounce in between. But luckily, one's in Clarksburg, is in Bridgeport, West Virginia, which is they're sister cities. They're right across. You go over the interstate, and that's the separating line. It's 15 minutes between the two. But I will definitely let you know because we usually go up there. Depending on what my wife's school schedule looks like, we usually try to spend 5 days up there or so. And sometimes a little slip away for a cocktail might not do me bad at all to get out and about. So been looking at the boat. Love the markets. Thank you. 201. Tell us what you're looking at, and if you got any questions, if anybody has questions out there, go ahead and send them my way. And I would be happy to go into whatever comes up on these videos. Like I said, I've been running today. I picked my wife up from the airport with my girls. We went and had lunch at like 11. We left and came home, dropped her off. We chatted for just a little bit, and I went over and helped my buddy who's moving into a new house, and went over and helped him for several hours. And just got back about 10 minutes before this, showered real quick because I was kind of grimy, and now I'm on. So I'm up for whatever. I haven't really prepared anything. I'm sure I could come up with something if the need arose, but would be much happier if I was answering you guys' questions. And I'm just going to go through my email to see if anything jumps out. I get all sorts of boating emails. So there's a few transactions that might be interesting to talk about. This fall boating in Maryland has been incredible. Extended my first season. That, hey, depending on Todd, what you have, you know, until that first hard freeze comes, depends on how you store your boat. If you got a stern drive or an outboard, I mean, if you keep your boat in the water, there's a little bit of extra insulation that the water gives you because, that's obviously not frozen yet at this time of year. And, that'll keep things warm enough and usually keep the block from freezing. If you have an outboard, it's pretty easy. Just, make sure you drain it all out, make sure no water collects in the hub. That's the prop hub. Water can kind of go in there, and then if it freezes, it can expand and kind of damage the hub itself. But yeah, it takes, without giving bad information, it takes a good solid freeze. Like just dip into 32 doesn't usually do it. It's got to be in a little bit of an extended period of time to get the motor froze, or to get the motor cold enough to freeze, get that water to freeze and expand enough, and enough to break something. But you don't want to tempt it too much. But you do want to get as much fun out of your boat as you can, especially if you've been having some cool fall weather. I love a nice fall cruise. The trees turning, you got the whole water to yourself. It's awesome. This 268. Okay, Commander, trying to become a buyer market instead of a seller's. Yeah, this is what Boater Tom and I were talking about this a little bit. I don't know if you are 201, if you're looking brand new. One of the things that I should have, I probably should have mentioned in the video, if you're a shopper, some good advice. If you're buying from a dealer, one of the things you can do is you can go look at their inventory and see what they have listed on their website, and try to, this is what you want to gauge. How nervous are they about their current level of inventory of a brand, a model, a style of boat, compared to where they think the market is going to go. So if they think the market's going to tank and they've got four of that model on the showroom floor, or they've committed to that for their order, and I think we're off allocations where the manufacturers are saying, no, you can't have as many as you want. I think we flip flopped. And now the manufacturers probably have a little bit more product that they're, as we get into the, past the summer of, or, past the spring of next year, where they'll be able to easily meet demand and be pushing boats a little bit more on the dealers, and look at that. Are there a lot of them in the marketplace overall, in your region specifically, and then more specifically at that particular dealer? As you see that they have three or four at a 268, that depending on what market you're in, they might have a couple of those. That's not, that's a boat that they should be able to sell in most saltwater markets, a couple of them a year, several of them a year. Do they have three or four in the inventory? Well, then I'd start gauging them. How nervous are they about what the future looks like? And that's going to tell you how aggressive you can get. And also, you don't have the risk of it's going to get sold out from under me, and now I'm not going to have a boat. I think that worry is probably starting to go away a little bit, because I for most models. And again, if we've watched this, my belief is that pontoons and center consoles specifically are going to be the last ones to hit that dip. But there's some specific your situation that applies. Looking at a '05 Crown Line 240EX, little dirty, otherwise not a bad boat. 350 Bravo 3. I don't know, Lucas. I would have to do a lot of research on values, especially right now. Your area makes a big impact on it. You can go to, if you want to do your research, and this is just at this point, it is a guide, the NADA, and then also go look at Boat Trader and see what they're listing for. What they're listing for is not what they're selling for, especially in the current market, where I think there's still a lot of sellers that are saying demand is crazy. We're gonna make money on this boat, and that could still be true for a while, but it doesn't have to be. And I think that's starting to change. But if you look at, let's see, I have to search. Crown line, and I'll go, let me get this all pulled up here and I'll go bigger for you. Used 2005. Would you say a 240? Yeah. Oop, 24. I don't know how big that boat is, but we're going to say 240 and see what comes up. Why did it take my manufacturer out of there? Make. All right, so let's see what's on the market for those. One. What size is that boat? Let's go to 25 and 23. So what you want to do is you want to look at 2005 240EX. That is interesting. I'm not seeing any of those for sale, which is really interesting. Let's go up to a 26 foot. I don't know. Yeah, that's. But I would look, and I usually would look at the year. So if it's an 05, I would look at an 04, 05, and 06. I would look at that range and just sort of see what are they listed for, what can you find, and then also when you go to the NADA guides, is go ahead and find your manufacturer, Crown Line Boats, and just go through this process, and it'll give you a ballpark. What's crazy is it shows you what the MSRP was new. 240EX. It's showing as a 25-foot boat. I don't know why it didn't pull up there. So I will do. I'll just go middle of America zip code. Choose the engine, so that 350 is a 5.7. 300 horsepower, all of this stuff, unless it's got something unusual in it. So let's say it's got a wakeboard tower on it. That would be extra. Most of them don't have a wakeboard tower on it. But canvas cover, most of them have a canvas cover. Most of them have, some sort of I don't even know, like a depth finder. You're not going to don't give them extra credit for that. But if it's got something that is unusual for that boat, add it in. And then the trailer, if it's got a trailer, and you do all of this separate, the trailer, it's going to be a tandem for a 24-foot boat. Don't put any of the extras on the trailer unless it's really, really decked out. And so you can see the list price when it was new was $53,000. Low retail, with the boat, upgrading $1,000 for the trailer, $230 extra for the boat itself. And then, so you're at 27 on the low side, which is kind of what you would say a dealer would give you on trade, is maybe even a little bit less than that. 30,000 is average, which means that there's some that are more than that. Some are selling for 10% more. So some are selling for 33. Some are selling for 10% less, which gets you down to that 27. Okay. Now, if it's a saltwater boat, knock off 10 to 15% right off the top. It doesn't say it online, but if you get the actual book from NADA and you spend the money to be on their list that give you high retail as well, the dealer will have that information. I can tell you it's typically around 10 to 15% more, depending on the boat. But that's going to give you an idea of where the market's at. You use that and you use what you find on Boat Trader, you can kind of get a decent sense for where you should be, knowing that this is a retail price that they would hope to get. And this is historically what they have sold for. Now, in most markets, that is slowly going down. Every book that comes out every month or every quarter, it goes down a little bit, goes down a little bit, goes down a little bit. The last 2 years, it's been going up by 30, 35% in some markets. But I think we're getting to the point, like I talked about in my market update, that we've leveled out for the most part. We still have some inflation increase, some price increase on new, which is going to buoy the used boat market. But this will give you a place to start at least. And then it's condition. So is the boat low hours, a little dirty? Okay. But if it's structurally sound, if the motor's in good condition, if they've got service records, if it's fresh water, if the gel coat's not trashed and it's not all chalky and oxidized, then you're going to be up on the higher end. If a dealer's selling it, you got a little bit less risk. That could bring that price up a little bit. The more things that are wrong with it, the further you get to average. And then when you start getting to saltwater boats, you start getting to boats that have some issues that are more than a little nick here and a ding there and a rip in the upholstery. Now you start getting closer to that low retail number of 27. If you take out a trailer, knock off that $1,000. This is why when I am looking at a used boat, if I can find the used boat that has the trailer packaged with it, I'm much happier, because finding a trailer for this boat, if it doesn't have one and you need it, is going to cost you $5 to $7 grand, because you're going to be really hard pressed to find a used one to fit that boat. So just a couple little thoughts that go along with your question there, Lucas. Hopefully that is helpful for you. Brock, considering selling my Hummingbird Solix, converting to low rants. If you know anyone, hey, Brock, feel free on any of my videos that are out there. Feel free to make a post and just say, if you're interested, email Captain Matt and or reply here, and I can connect you guys. Be happy to do that for you. You've been such a great contributor to the group. That would be happier. If anybody is in the market for one, I can tell you that Brock is going to be as honest as they come and be easy to work with. And he is in the Charleston area. I don't know how difficult it would be to ship that somewhere. Probably not crazy hard, but feel free to do that. Be happy to help you out there. So it's $150 to winterize your boat around here. What do you think they will do for $150? Not very much. So, Scott, tell me where around here is. Tell me where you're located, and I can tell you that gets you about an hour of work, maybe. So, in most markets, the annual shop rate for a good technician, if they're a mobile mechanic, is going to be anywhere from 50 on the really, really, really low end. I mean, most of them are going to be close to 85 to 100. If you're working at a dealership, you're looking from 100 to 300. And the busier your market is, the more demand, the higher up you're going to be. So at $150 to winterize, you take, there's some supplies in there. They may just drain it. And also, is it a stern drive or is it an outboard? That makes a difference too. If it's a stern drive, that may just be, they'll pull the plugs, drain it, treat the fuel, disconnect the battery, and that could be about it. So you really want to ask, hey, it's not winterization. All winterization means is we're going to protect the boat from freezing. So I did a video on it where I talk about kind of what I think about when I think about winterization. And it's why it's a bad idea to call around and say, hey, how much do you charge for winterization? What you want to do is you want to say, hey, what are your winterization packages? And if you don't have winterization packages, here's what I want done. I want drained, biodegradable antifreeze put through my system. If you've got a freshwater system, I want that treated or emptied or however you're going to handle that. I want the fuel treated. If it's a carbureted engine, I want that engine fogged. And you give them the list, or usually at bigger, more professional service departments, they'll have a package where they'll say, we'll do this, that, and the other. For this much extra, we'll wrap it. For this much extra, we'll do whatever. For this much extra, we'll store it. And they usually have a package. So for $150, my gut tells me they're not doing a whole lot. And which, depending on what your boat is, could put you at some risk. Could not be as well protected as you may want it to be, or it could be all you need. If you're in the Carolinas, or in that area where you might get a handful of hard freezes throughout the year, and you're going to put it away in November. You're going to get it back out in January, February. It's only for a couple of months. You're probably okay if you don't have the pink stuff, the pink biodegradable antifreeze. And there's a difference. I've heard this question a bunch. I can buy this jug of pink stuff for $5. I can buy this jug of pink stuff for $10. Can I just use the $5? You can, but what that extra $5 is getting you, the $10 thing has corrosion inhibitors in it. It's made to go in your engine and kind of keep that metal in good condition so it doesn't get rusted. It doesn't start to have anything negative going on in the internal components where all that water is sitting in the exhaust manifolds and the jackets and everywhere where you're running that through the hoses and everything. The other stuff, the $5 stuff, is to put in your freshwater tanks just so it doesn't freeze. And you don't want to put really the engine stuff in your freshwater tank. You got to rinse it real good if you do. But what are they using? What jug are they going to use for $150? That's a question that you may want to ask as well. So I would definitely get it itemized, because I've heard people, and even when I was selling boats, that they would say, but I can get it winterized down the road for $50. Well, that's some schmo that's just taking the drain plugs out and put them in a baggie and zip tying them to your steering wheel and saying you're winterized. Technically, they're right. But what about the fuel? What about if it's a carb fogging the engine? What about the fuel, treating the fuel and making sure not only do you treat it and put it in there, but you get it sloshed around real good and you run it long enough to get that treatment through the fuel lines and into the injectors or the carburetor or whatever, and doing that whole thing properly. What about keeping it dry so that you don't get mold and mildew? Now we're at a detailing level. And so it could be, charging $1,000 for a boat to get put away properly. Then you add shrink wrap on top. Now you could be even more. So getting that detailed and talking in specifics and not just winterization, I think, is a good habit to get into as a boater. So, all right, let's see if there were Wisconsin 2-stroke. Okay, so Scott, if you're in Wisconsin with a 2-stroke, now, okay, that might be right. They've got to fog the engine, but there's no pink stuff. There's no plugs to pull. So you fog the engine, you tilt the engine down, drain it all out, you treat the fuel, and man, you're in pretty good shape. Now, make sure when you put it away, it's dry. You take all your gear out. You follow these videos, whatever you would watch the outboard one. You watch that stuff. Do you want to leave your fuel totally full or as close to empty as possible? There are people way smarter than me that have their opinions. I'm going to say do one or the other. I'm a full, leave it full and treat it. But there's people that are way smarter than me that say, hey, leave it as close to empty as you can and treat that. Make sure it gets through so that way you can put totally fresh gas in as you get to the summer, because there's a winter blend of fuel, a summer blend of fuel, and they say there's a value there. It depends. Come on in. So my kids are off school tomorrow, so I had a feeling they were going to want to stop by and say hello.
Hello.
This is the little one.
We just want to go get ice cream.
You got ice
With Aunt
cream?
Kelly.
Oh my gosh. I knew you were at Aunt Kelly. I knew there was going to be desserts involved.
Yeah, we went to Duckworth with Aunt Kelly.
All right. All right. Well, say goodbye. All right.
Bye. Avery might be coming up.
I figured she would be. Close that curtain behind you, please. So that is guest number one. Take Violet with you. She needs to go outside. I didn't let her outside. So follow that and then keep it dry. Make sure that when you put it away dry. Make sure you avoid critters as well, because that's something that can cause a major damage. That can be an issue. So that's fine. If she wants to stay, she can stay. Before I covered boat, put it in the building. Nice coat of boat bling conditioner. Yes. Yeah, that is, Brian, you're exactly right. When I was talking about cleaning, conditioning the seats, put some dry rid in there to make sure that, hey, when I open this back up with the, Wisconsin, you're going to have some 60-degree days, and you're going to have some 10-degree below zero. Well, that causes a lot of moisture and condensation, and so you want to have some dry rid in there. You want to have the seats as clean as you can get them. I like to open up all the compartments if I've, just to get as much airflow through as you can, depending on where you're putting it away and what the conditions are. If you can have a solar fan that's just going to get some airflow through there, to keep it as dry as possible, is going to be the best situation. Glad when I built my Destroy the RV, thought that's what, there you go. Now, if you've got the land and the space and you can tuck it in a little building, all the best. Rod Johnson, that was on the podcast, and he bought a Harris pontoon last year. This would be his second full season this year. He bought an RV kind of shed with just the top section, and then the sides come down, maybe halfway, and he tucks his pontoon in there, covers it up real good, and tucks it under there. And that's a nice setup too if you don't have a full-on building. Yes, the problem is that I don't have many center console deals in my area. Only 2 Seafox, 2 Robalo. Yeah, that, I'm in a freshwater. Okay, interesting. Yeah, there's 201. There's more and more center consoles showing up on freshwater lakes, and I think it's going to start. I think it's going to continue. It's already started, but I think it's certainly going to continue along. So, but again, they've got that extra clicking in their head of, oh shoot, is this center console trend going to continue in freshwater? They definitely don't want to get stuck with a boat that's going to go out of favor in their market area. So, just try to gauge how many they have in stock, and what their gut is telling them, because everybody's got a little different opinion on how bad, how long, how soon this recession is going to hit. And like I said in my video, I think it's going to be regional. I think it's going to be boat segment by boat segment. And I think it's also going to be region of the country by region of the country are going to be more and less hit by it. So I hesitate to say this 201, but sometimes searching away from your market, there might be substantial savings somewhere. There, you might also have the opportunity of saying, hey, I found this boat that's on the Carolina coast, or that's up in Maryland, up near the Chesapeake. I really like it. Is there any way we could get that from them? They look like they've got 6 of them, and maybe there's some wheeling and dealing where you could still buy it through your dealer, but the other dealer would be happy to trade it. That used to be common. Like when I started selling boats in 09, the 07 recession hit. There was a big glut of boats. 09, they were just starting to sell, but there was a lot of dealer trading where dealers would be like, hey, I don't have that boat, but they've got 6 of them and they want to get rid of them. And they would kind of swap and horse trade. So that may be an option for you as well. Lucas, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Scott, we got you. Hopefully that was helpful for you. For the news, 5,000 boats in Florida, total loss due to the hurricane. Half were insured. Talked to an Orlando boat dealer today, expecting sales to be strong through the holidays into spring. Yeah. I mentioned that, Boater Tom, I mentioned that in that video, that's going to play an impact on the center console market. And, there's plenty of pontoons that are in that market. That's 2,500 boats that are going to be, they've got to check now. Do I want a new boat, or am I no longer a boater? The other 2,500 that aren't insured, well, what are they going to do? Were they cheaper boats, and they just like, I have no reason to pay for the insurance, and I know I can do it? Or were they super old boats that they're like, it's a 1963 whatever, and I can just replace it? who knows what that situation is going to look like, but there's at least 2,000 boat sales that are going to happen because of that. And that's just where we're at now. That number will probably increase, and that's total loss. What about the boats that were just damaged, that they're going to try to pull a fast one and sell their partially damaged boat and then get a new one? It does make an impact in the industry. Every time a big storm comes through, it makes an impact. I remember some people talking about this happened when Sandy came through up in the Northeast, that the exact same things. Those dealers up there had a bunch of extra boat sales, and it really buoyed that market up there. So it cost me $200 just to buy the supplies to winterize my boat to sell. Boat shop winterizes for me at $600. Yeah. So Mark, I'm curious to know what boat you have. I don't think I know what you have, Mark, but let me know what you have. And you've got the jugs are $10 each. Most of them are going to take 5 gallons or so. If you buy the do-it-yourself pack, then you've got to get the big 5-gallon jug. You've got to get the hose. You've got to get the earmuffs. You got to get the fuel treatment. If you're going to do your gear lube, at least check your gear lube. Make sure there's no water in there. And if you're going to change it, that's fine. But at least crack that nut and make sure that there's no water in there, and check it. The water should be at the bottom and the oil should rise to the top. So you can, that drain plug's low. The first thing to come out will be water. And if you haven't run it for a while, you might see just water. But if you see it kind of milkshaky, looks like a cafe latte or a cappuccino or something, bad news. There's water in there. That water will freeze, and that could crack your gear case. But that's something that you can do with just get yourself a big flat screwdriver like this, crack that nut a little bit, let it drain out. And if you don't open that vent, it won't just come gushing out. You can crack it and test that pretty easily yourself if you're even a little bit mechanically inclined. So, but yeah, $600 for a winterization to do the fuel treatment, because you figure they've got to spend, run it for 15 minutes. They got to get the antifreeze all through. They've got their shop material. They've got their labor rate and all the other stuff that they do. That doesn't seem like it's a crazy high amount to me. For sure. Considering canceling my order for my Sportsman 282 open, buying a Grady 306. Cost would be the same. Grady has 230 hours, better electronics, and sport trailer. Yeah, that Rich, I think you were on before, and you kind of asked about this question. We told you about Brock's story. It's hard to say without seeing that boat with 230 hours. That boat was used, which is good. That you can tell how well they took care of it. The Grady is going to be a big old heavy boat, probably a little bit heavier than that 282. Let me pull them up. Sportsman 282 open. Okay. And go Boat Trader on that. And then we're going to go Grady 306. Brock, if you want to chime in with your Sportsman, I don't know if you looked at Grady's or not, but Grady's do a great job. If you're looking at the same price, it's been well maintained. There's a good history with it. Photo gallery. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so we will take a look. This is the Grady. I'll let you guys give your opinions too. Okay. Same. I'm assuming same horsepower, Rich. I'm assuming the same power setup. Maybe a little bit more on that Grady because it's going to be a heavier boat. I don't know what the specs are. We'll look at that. I mean, you're going to find some of the details on the Grady are going to be a little bit heavier. The struts and things like that, are the hinges Some of those things are going to be a little bit heavier duty. The upholstery might be a little bit thicker. All right, so that's the Grady. Now we'll go to the Sportsman. And let's just, to be fair, let's go to the actual Sportsman page. We just look at the brand new Grady. Sportsman. They should have some good pictures. This is fun. I like shopping for boats with you guys. Why won't you let me? I guess it doesn't want to let me do cookies. Let's see where our images are here. Nice stitching on that. I do like those backrests on the seats. I don't know how you're going to use it as well, which that does make a little bit of difference. And I don't even know if this is the open. Okay. Yeah, it's, for the money, I think Grady is the better boat. Now, it doesn't have the same warranty. You've got 2 years of warranty that are gone. So you've got 1 more year of warranty on the Grady. Depending on if they've got extended warranty, you may have a few extra there. But all right, so we've got enclosed helm or partially enclosed helm. Yeah, I mean, my gut tells me without having boarded both of them that, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, I think here. The Grady is going to be built better. It's going to be a more solid boat. It's going to be a more solid boat under your feet when you're riding. Not that the Sportsman's a slouch, but it's just they build them a little bit different. They're still using Sportsman's going to be all composite. In the Grady's, they still may be using some encapsulated wood in some areas of the transom. I think that's the case. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the case. Now they've gotten a lot smarter about how they're using wood in a boat like this, but I don't think they've gone to all composite yet, like Sportsman has. But I would say that Grady's probably going to be a little bit more solid under your feet. Let's see if Brock has. Okay, would lean towards the Grady, especially at the same price, bigger boat, better electronics. Sell me. That's, yeah. Who knows when your 282 will be built? That. All right, so the 282 is same size, dry as the Grady, same power. Okay, good. So you're good on there. The head on yeah, I would think if you really started looking at the hardware, and if you go to my center console video, best, worst, center console, you'll see, I mean, this is almost an hour-long video, but you'll see some of the hardware things that when you go back and forth to the boat now after watching that video, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can definitely see where the some of the little details on the Grady are going to be, some of those details are going to be more heavy, more sturdy, more durable, thicker, that kind of thing. So the same price, getting the boat now, starting to use it now. I think, and I think Sportsman has probably announced most of the price increases that you would experience on that 282, but you never know if the price increase could come before your boat gets built. And now what was their equal, now the Grady is actually cheaper than the Sportsman. I would be really surprised if it went the other way where the Sportsman got more discounts to it, unless the shit really hits the fan and the market really tumbles. So, yeah, my gut tells me, well, I know this for a fact. The Grady is a better built boat. My gut tells me that that you would really love it with that Grady, assuming, like I said, that the boat's in great condition, and with a year on it, there still could be some stuff that happens. Maybe they overheated it. So don't just jump in and say it's only 2 years old. Make sure you check that boat. Make sure you run it. Make sure that you put it through its paces, just like you should that Sportsman with it. If you did go that way and it came in brand new, that would be something to consider. All right. So good luck with that. That's great that you found that. That's great that you found that that Grady. I need to add an addition onto my shed with only one bass boat in mind. Yeah. Hey, you always gotta think maybe there's another one. Build it a little bit bigger than you need it. If you've got the space for sure. Dealer even said it's picking up. Usually a couple 268s with 248s mixed in. Okay. Yeah. So that may be a situation where in your region, the center console market is plateauing. And like I said, that one I think is going to ride out a little bit. But in some of the freshwater markets where last year they only sold 3 of them, people are like, oh, I like that center console. I never considered it, but I really like it on the freshwater. And now they might sell 6 of them in that single market. The overall thing's happening, but there's always that local factor. What's going on in the local factor? And if it's the center, they're noticing the center consoles pick up. Now they're probably a little bit more bullish on, hey, we're going to be able to sell this one easy. Those are all things to consider and think about when you're in that buying stage, and how aggressive you can be negotiating. And like Boater Tom and I talked about this on Friday night. There's a certain point where you want to negotiate and get the best possible deal you can. And you also want to have a good relationship with that dealer as you're taking care of you, warranty, doing little extra things that, maybe if the relationship got soured, you were too aggressive in the negotiation, that can happen. It's happened. I was shocked when I had a customer. It was in 09. So I was brand new. I'd never sold in this environment before. And this accountant guy, super nice guy, he was great to work with, but he's like, I'm not paying that. I will pay this. And the dealership agreed, but my general manager said to me, he's like, we will have to charge him for every single thing that we do on this boat. If we have to go pick it up at his dock, we're going to have to charge him. And so there's a certain point where, yes, you might be able to save a little bit, but you sour that relationship with the owner or the general manager, and they're the ones that are taking care of you. And I know for a fact it happens. And the dealership I worked at was a good dealership, but there's a mentality that you're dealing with people, and understand that psychology can come back and get you. You saved an extra $500 on the deal, but now you had to pay an extra $1,000 over the next 5 years because of that kind of bad taste in their mouth. It's the reality. Something to consider for sure. Okay, we got that. Got the Grady. Head on the Grady is nicer. I have a 11 Glastron with the Mercruiser 200 for oil. Okay, fuel filter, gear lube, and minus 100. Okay, so there was also the oil and gear lube annual. I'll call it annual service, and that's the other thing. When you talk winterization, some people say, hey, if I'm winterizing, I'm doing all of that too. I'm doing the annual or 100-hour service as well, in addition to the winterization. And that starts to add up. That sounds right. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. There's so many. That's why I always try to ask the next question. It's something that I see on Facebook when people comment and give recommendations and give advice. There's a lot of times where you don't have enough information about their actual situation to give good advice. Are they fresh or saltwater? Is it a stern drive or an outboard? Are they in freezing temperatures? Or are they in warm temperatures? Come on in if you want to say hi. All right. Our second special guest for the day is my oldest, and she has had her ice cream, saw her Aunt Kelly, and gets to hang out with her mom, who was gone for a couple of days. All right. Say goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Anything? Parting words?
Oh, I have a dance to show you guys.
All right. Hurry up.
Ready?
All right.
Eat the chips. Future.
Careful. Hurry up.
Eat the chips. Abuse your hips. Kick the kid. It's something. Pose. By the gum off your shoe.
You may not
Come,
realize
loser, take a picture.
my daughter is a fantastic dancer. This, I don't know what this is. All right, say goodbye.
I am a good dancer.
Go.
Bye.
All right, love you, baby. Shut the door, please. All right, so I think. All right, thanks. I think that's our last special guest, unless my wife decides to pop her head in. But I promise you, she will not dance. The only place Grady uses wood is above the water line in the deck. Stringers, transom are all composite. Okay, I knew they had some wood somewhere. I just wasn't sure where they changed it. I'll be that guy next year in the center console of freshwater. We were meeting the in-laws, Lake Anna. Brock, I think you'll be surprised at how many people look at you and ask, how does that run in the fresh water? Because like I said, I've seen them in the Lake of the Ozarks where 3-5 years ago, been unheard of. But I saw some Grady's there. I saw some Boston Whalers there. They've got the MTIs, the big Go Fast 40, 50-foot center consoles with, quads and quints and sextuplets or whatever they're called, that just scream. And they're big down there. Or I didn't say they're big. They're noticeable down there, whereas before you would have never seen it. Our neighbors next to us that at our lake place, they bought a twin engine center console that they run down there for their personal boat. They also have a boat rental business where they've got a bunch of pontoons and deck boats. But they're becoming more and more common, and people seem to like them. I had some when I was selling them in my area. We're 3 hours from the coast, so it made sense. They would run it at the lake for their main boat, but it also allowed them to tow it down to the coast and go offshore fishing and do what they wanted to do there, and it served dual purpose. That's where Scout did an outstanding job, I think, of breaking through that market for people where they had the comfort packages, and they were one of the first ones I saw to do it. John, welcome. Cold out this afternoon, but my wife said, let's go. Kids were that's a fun day. That's a fun day when you get out, you get out there and you realize, oh my God, it's cold out. But y'all get wrapped up. You get some hot chocolate if you planned enough, and you have a good time, and you get that last run of the season in. So I love it, John. That's great. Heck, we even have a few center consoles. Yeah, that's and in West Virginia. Is that Sheet Lake or what's the other one further down south that we drive over? There's another one that we drive over when we go up to the Clarksburg area. I think that's the one that you're nearest right now. Lots of center college. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure in the Florida market that where, hey, we're going to run on freshwater a decent amount of time of the chain of lakes where Boater Tom is. But we're also going to throw it on the trailer and head to the Gulf Coast or the Atlantic coast. Have friends that have a 20-foot whaler with 175, amazing lake boat. Yeah. I sold whalers and Burnsville. Okay. Burnsville, West Virginia. I sold whalers as well. We had Scout and Whaler were our center console line because the dealership group that I was in had stores in Charleston and Savannah. And so we would bring a couple of them in, but I could sell from their inventory. We had the market in the Charlotte area, and I was fortunate to get to go to the Whaler factory, to get to go to a couple of the Scout dealer meetings, to be able to kind of learn that market, even though I was more of a freshwater guy. All right, give me just a second here. I've got some allergies. I ate something I shouldn't have eaten this afternoon, and keep bringing your questions and. All right. Oh, I thought I took myself all the way off camera. Sorry about that. But yeah, they are some great riding boats. I had a client that bought a 210 Montauk, the biggest Montauk. It's a really flat bottom. It's a really stable boat, really shallow draft. And that thing was rock solid. And the outrage that I sold was even better with the deeper V. It's Somerville. That's the lake I was thinking of, Brian. You got it. Somerville Lake. So, all right, guys, we're coming up on about an hour. And I will real quick tell you about what we got going. If you're a boat buyer, check out the Boat Buyers Toolkit. It's totally free. You can get it at boatbuyerstoolkit.com, about 28 pages. My new book is coming soon. I am editing. I've got the next round of chapters that my editor sent to me to review. And so we're getting closer and closer. I think we'll hit the end of November, maybe even before, for a pre-launch date. And it'll be available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and we'll also be giving it away if you want to just download it. And if you're a boat owner and I always see people posting, "Hey, I just bought this boat." They usually post it in the ownership group, like the Crown Line Owners Group or the Bennington Owners Group, or their local boating group. And they'll say, "Hey, I just bought a brand new whatever. What advice do you have?" Well, this 3-part video series is just packed full of that kind of advice that you're never going to know to ask. But it's really going to be important information for you to know. And it's just sort of being around boats and freshwater, saltwater, stern drives, outboards. There's just a lot of information that you need to kind of get into your head that's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. It's going to save you hassles. And I'm really happy with the value that's in that. And we're giving that away for free. Boatersbootcamp.com. If you struggle handling your boat, the best boat captain on the water is great. We have the best boat captain stern drive, pontoon. The single engine is now available. And if you have either of these and you're a single engine owner, just shoot me an email and I'll put you into the outboard version. And then this summer, twin engine is up next, or this fall, probably in November, I'll be shooting the twin engine, the wake, and the jet boat version. If I can get all that lined up. The Confident Coastal Boater is an early release, which means it's great, but it can be better. I already know that there's things I need to add to it, things to make better. And the footage that we lost going through the inlet, I need to reshoot that. And that definitely needs to be in there. How to go through an inlet and in and out of an inlet and read the water. Trailer Like a Pro, if you trailer and you struggle at the ramp or you're nervous about it, is a great program. Tow Water Sports with Confidence. And then next spring will come the Easy Way, ski and wakeboard, the Easy Way, where I get a captain that was in my captain's class that is on the ski show team. She does pyramids. She does everything. She's been skiing since she was 2. And she teaches kids how to ski every summer. So she's going to be awesome. If you've got kids, I'm excited about doing that program with her. If you're a first-time boat buyer, the Boat Buyers Academy is a great program. It kind of just condenses everything that's on the channel. There's some additional information in there, but it's just more concise. And I can be more teaching and less having to create entertaining videos for the algorithm at YouTube to get views. This just puts it together and gives you some negotiation tips as well. And it all comes with the personal Happy Boater 100% money back guarantee. For whatever reason you're not happy, you're not like, this isn't great stuff, send me an email, you get a refund. That's just the way I do it. So there you go. That's that. Now let's see what's come in while I was jibber jabbering. I ran the Sportsman across Santee this summer. Felt not being in the Ranger. Yeah, you're probably a bizarro world. You're like, wait, this is my saltwater boat. What am I doing here? It was a Dauntless. Yeah, those Dauntlesses are great, man. The Dauntless. I've run the Conquest. I've run a 265 Conquest with twins. That's the cabin, the walk around boat. I mean, that thing's like a dang tank. Those are solid boats. My home lake, there were a lot of cruiser ski boats, got rough chop at times. Yeah. That's Cumberland, I think, is where you said you were, 201. And yeah, the wake boats and the big cruisers that go by just barely not on plane and just plowing. And even, you get a 34, 38 foot cruiser going by, even on plane, they're putting out a big wake. And with those sheer cliffs, this is what happens at the Lake of the Ozarks. They hit off those sheer cliffs and they just reflect right back into the channel. And now you get this washing machine of, not big wakes, but they're just coming from all different directions, 2-footers. And you gotta be on your toes. You got to use that trim and you got to read the water up ahead of you. and see what you're in for. Try to hit them the right way as best you can. The whalers are heavy. V-haul cut through the chop well. Yeah, they've been doing it right for a long time. So, all right, guys, I think we are right at an hour. I haven't seen my wife for a couple nights, so we've got some catching up to do, and seeing how her trip was. So we are going to call it quits unless something really interesting comes in. Burnsville is a half-acre lake, shallow, 10 feet, nice, quiet. Grandson can peacefully swim. That, Brian, that to me, peaceful. When I think of boating, I don't care what size lake I'm probably going to find a cove off in the distance that isn't the popular party cove. I'm going to go to off the beaten path cove because I'm hanging out mainly with the people that are on my boat or the people that I invite to come hang out. And when I go on the water, it's that peaceful relaxation. I'm with you. Safe for the kids to swim around and do their thing. And that sounds about perfect to me. I'll have to look that up and see exactly where that is. We have some of those monster cruisers down here that just push you off your fishing spot on the jetties when they pass by. Yeah, it is. When I filmed the coastal, I filmed it on a 30, I think it was a 30-foot pursuit walk around with a twin 150 Yamahas. And, we, Captain Tim is super respectful, and he's a fisherman too. So I think fishermen get it that, anytime he saw somebody on their fishing spot, their flats boat, or, even if it was a bigger center consoles like your Brock, he either kept it up on plane and went off to the other side if there was room, or he came off plane, like when we were on the intercoastal or in a narrow channel. And unfortunately, a lot of people just don't know that. So hopefully they take the free boater boot camp, and we talk about that in some respects, and we talk about, look back and see how big of a wake your boat puts out. Know what that is at different speeds. So, if I cruise by at 15 miles an hour or 20 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour, what kind of wake am I giving to the people that are off to my sides, the boat sitting on the shore or sitting on the docks? If I'm passing a gas dock at a marina and I'm a big 40-foot cruiser, if I'm not idling, I'm putting out a monster wake that is just going to rock the crap out of everybody. And just being aware of that, I think will help you make a smarter decision. I think it's just the oblivion to what their wake is doing that. I don't think it's meanness. I think it's just, they don't know. And so hopefully some of this information helps. My bass boat doesn't like the job. I bet it doesn't. Fantastic week. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it. And about an hour south of Clarksburg on exit 79. All right, so we drive over it. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I'll have to look on the map before we drive up over Thanksgiving. And usually it's a 6-hour drive with the girls. I usually don't venture too far off the path to get up there as quick as we can, but I'll have to scope that out. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Corey. And Ray, don't forget to hit that like button. I appreciate that. Like, share any of my videos. It makes a big difference, and I appreciate it. Ray, stay healthy, my friend. And thanks to everybody for being a part of the channel, being on the live, and we'll catch you guys all next weekend. Take care, everybody.